Welcome to my 1999 Rover 620 Ti.
Mike, thanks for showing me yours. Now, check out mine.
You've bought an Integrale.
Yes, Lancia Delta Integrale HF 16 valve. It's Italian, it's stylish, it's fast, it's beautiful. I love it.
What a car. So we filmed you testing out cars, and one of them was a Delta Integrale. I think it was an Evo 1 or 2, so you've pulled through.
Yes, it's not an Evo.
Okay.
It's a 16 valve, but basically everything inside the car, the chassis, the running gear, the engine, the power, everything like that is all the same as an Evo. You've got the same amount of power output. Okay. And all the clever gubbings underneath, the four-wheel drive system, which I made you fall asleep to, the viscous diff, all that stuff.
All that stuff.
All that tech is in here. The main difference between the 16 valve and the Evos is that it's slightly narrower track. Okay. So on the Evos, they widen the track for, you know, what you would say was more, I suppose, more grip, more cornering grip for the rallying. But actually, on a country road, narrow track, it's very dynamic, it's quite darty. So the driving style with this is slightly more aggressive. It's a bit more raucous inside. It's got less noise dampening. So I love it. It's still smooth to drive, but it's a little bit more vicious.
Okay, so it's seen as one of the kind of more affordable Integrales then, because it's not an Evo.
Correct, it's way less.
And on you buying it, I don't want to stake claim to this, but could you say I sort of coerced you into purchasing this car?
It was entirely your fault.
I did WhatsApp you a link to this very car. It was sourced in auctions, was it?
It was.
And yeah, fair play.
Do you know what? I walked along, I thought, you know, I've been looking around. I wanted a hot hatch, and you know, no one does it like the Europeans. And I've been looking at the 205 GTI for ages.
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
And actually, this was roughly the same price.
That's mad.
It was mad. And I went to go look at the car, which is lethal. And the thing that really sold it to me is looking through the window, it's the seat covers. They're just immaculate. So you can see this car's been really well looked after. It was an export car that went to Japan.
Can I touch it?
Touch it, yeah. You'll be sitting in it in a minute.
Oh, yes.
It just looks pretty much as new. And I just thought, well, if it's been well looked after like that, and being in Japan, you get less likely to have rust. They tend to look after their cars better. And you look around it, and it's got lots of straight lines, all the doors closed properly, so it doesn't look like it's been shunted. I mean, one of the things that the essence of these cars is it's effectively an alley monocoque, all-in-one chassis, which is great for strength, rigidity, good cornering. But the negative is if you whack it, if you get shunted, it tends to be a bit of a write-off. It's very hard to...
Tends to fold.
It folds up. And you can't just, well, we'll just change the rear clip or the front clip. You have to, you know, really start from scratch.
There's something about the Delta's design. It's quite geometric, but it works. It's a very pretty hatchback.
It's boxy, isn't it? I mean, if Ferrari made a hatchback, I think this would be it, but they didn't. Lancia did it.
Nice.
And those sort of 1980s architecture, you know, the square wing mirror, the boxy wheel arches that really flare out. Not as much as the Evos, but again, that's just down to the track. And there's a few little curiosities that were different to the cars that went to Japan. I think I'm right with this, that the indicator would be there, but in the Japanese regs, they had to be lower.
Okay.
So they lowered the indicator light to here, and you get an extra HF badge to cover up the hole, basically. So all these things are modified in Japan. And the other extra I get is air conditioning.
That's pretty handy.
So they fit that in Japan. It was non-standard.
I love the wheels.
They're cool, aren't they?
Because people go, there's like ones that have like proper streaks on them. That's quite a different Delta Integrale wheel, but I like it. It's cool.
And inside, behind that helm, you know, all of them, whether it's Evos or this 16 valve, that dashboard is just very pure. And it's kind of, it's like a sort of fighter pilot from the old days.
Is it yellow dials in this as well?
Yeah, yellow and black.
It is.
With the good steering wheel, and it's an original, but it wasn't factory fit, is this wicked gear handle. So this sort of the ball top with this faux carbon business here. But it's better than that big rubbery thing that was fitted as a sort of factory standard.
Shall we cut the crap and go for a drive?
100%.
How sick is Ben's Delta? He clearly did a lot of research into that car before he bought it, and something that will help you guys with your next car purchase is the sponsor of today's video, Car Vertical. By punching in the reg or VIN of a car you're about to buy, Car Vertical will give you a full report, a thorough look at the history of a vehicle to make sure you're not buying a dud. Let's say you want a legendary 4-wheel drive car like a Lancia, but we've tempted you with our content, you fancy a Subaru Impreza. You come across this one and you punch its reg or VIN into Car Vertical, you'll get this report. We've got an amber warning in damage, and straight away, geez, Shah from pole position, I hope this is not one of your clients. Look at the state of that. It has the full rally stickering and everything, but you'd want to stay well away from this car, especially if it had been hastily repaired and put back up for sale. To make sure you don't buy a car by mistake that has a history like that, use our exclusive link in the description below or our discount code DRIVETRIBE to get 10% off when you use Car Vertical, and thank you to them for sponsoring today's video. Back to the Lancia. Okay, that is slightly quicker than the Rover, I will admit.
It is. I mean,
not much.
It's a bit lighter. Obviously, the chassis is tuned to perfection, as it was when it was new. And the thing I love about this one is it is totally unmodified. I hate modified cars.
Okay.
So it's in its original state, which was crucial. So it hasn't been messed with. Chassis straight.
Yeah, so you bought it for, was it high 20s?
It was 28k.
And that's less than half for an Evo, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And in good nick with pretty low miles. It's about 35,000 miles.
So it was between one of these and a 205 GTI.
Yeah.
Are you happy with your choice?
Absolutely. It was just a sort of moment, it dawned on me that they're roughly the same price, but the amount of engineering that's built into these, the amount of way more performance and road holding. And I don't know, I suppose in my head, this was always unattainable. The Peugeot was something that was within reach. It felt more familiar. It's a simple car. And these things just always appear to be like a kind of unattainable beast.
Yeah, the Peugeots haven't gone nuts.
They have gone up a lot.
Pretty much on par with this, some of them.
But they are serious bits of kit. Both, I mean, the 205 is a lovely car, still love them. But this, you could just get so much more power down.
So the story was, I knew you were going to the event that had the Silverstone auction at it, and I saw that there was an Integrale in it. It looked good, fairly low mileage, and I thought, I'm just gonna send that to Ben.
Yeah.
And then, you gave it a tickle in person and thought, I'm gonna have that.
I'm really glad you gave me that push, because auctions are quite nerve-wracking places, and once you go in, and particularly once you decide, right, actually, I'm gonna go for it. And I looked through the window, it's been great, Nick. This could be the one.
So you were in the room, giving it the...
yeah, in the room. I think it was a bidder on the phone I was competing with.
Yeah.
But I had a really good feeling, and I think that's a crucial part of it. You've got to feel it in your gut, but you need to see these cars in person, I think. I mean, you can buy online. For me, it was a big outlay, and I wanted to make sure that it was the right car. I have to say, the moment that the hammer went down, it was mine, felt fantastic.
Absolutely.
But also I knew enough that this car had been sitting still for a long time. So it had been to Japan. It was brought to the UK by the owner I got it from, who died.
Okay.
And I'd been sitting still in a barn or a lockup somewhere. So there was a small family of mice that were inhabiting the engine bay.
Oh no.
And because it's been sitting still, I mean, the good news is it's been sitting still in its original state. The bad news is, all the rubber and the belts and everything, they were all original.
Okay.
So they needed to be changed rather than fire up. One of those fires off and you damage your engine.
Did the mice have a go at the wiring, or were you okay?
No, that was, touch wood, okay. So the important stuff was there, and just needed a bit of TLC just to basically make sure that, all the pulleys and everything were going to do their job in the motor.
So, I mean, Lancias are known for their rust. Was there any bodywork that needed done, or because it was Japanese? No, totally clean.
All solid, so all clean and healthy.
So what are you going to use it for? Is it kind of a Sunday thrash or more during the week? What does it get used for?
Currently, I mean, this is me. So I'm very lucky. I've got my 911, which I love.
Yep.
That's been my daily. Been racking up miles in that. I did laugh because when I bought this, I looked at the mileage and it's been looked after incredibly well. And I think it's going to change for you, the little car.
Yeah.
Going to get used what it's meant for, which is drive it daily and enjoy it. And ultimately, these cars want to be used. They're better off being used. And I think it's sad if they just sit still in a garage and don't get out and about.
Absolutely.
Different reception actually in one of these to a 911. I'll be honest. Different hand gestures. A lot more thumbs up.
Absolutely.
Than you get in a Porsche. People love these things, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And you don't see that many on the road.
So I was obsessed with them as a kid because one of my dad's friends had one, and I remember he took me for a drive, and I couldn't believe a car could be as quick as this. It just blew my mind.
Yeah.
And then I got to drive actually his wife's one as one of my first performance car experiences. And until very recently, it was the best car I'd ever driven. They were absolutely phenomenal. I think it was an Evo 1.
Yeah.
And yeah, it totally held up to its legendary status.
Yeah. The interesting thing with this, because it's narrower track, it's slightly darty, and I like that. So it's got a very positive front end. The car rotates quite quickly. British country roads, it's ideal. And a bit more niche is the seating position. So this and the Evo 1 are quite similar, but actually the Evo 2 with the Recaro seats, you're much higher. And for me, my head's into the ceiling in one of those.
Okay.
So I personally, the driving position in this one is perfect. And little things like that matter. If you're going to be driving it regularly, you want to fit, don't you? But the helm is awesome. So the feedback through this very solid steering wheel is exactly what you would want.
But I remember it's almost tilted to the ceiling. It's quite bus driver, the steering wheel position, but it works.
It reminds me of the F40.
Okay.
So the F40, some of those older Ferraris have also got that funny canted steering wheel. Funny enough, you just don't really notice. You get behind it and you're on it slightly, and it's busy, means business.
I remember the classic dials. If things were going wrong, you'd have temperature going this way and fuel going that way.
Yeah.
So they work away from each other. Okay, so you got the car. It was mostly engine work that needed done. Anything else that got touched, interior or anything, or was this all just immaculate?
No, this is it. This is the interior. I think what's the only other thing we did was the clutch, actually. The clutch was a bit knackered just because it was old.
Okay.
So I think I got away fairly lucky with what we had, and these are the tyres it came on, which I think are fine.
Yeah, I think you've done bloody well. This seems like a really solid car, and I like that you put in the research to realise that actually the fact that these are sometimes a third the price of an Evo 1 or 2, but there's not too much difference, and actually the difference is something that you preferred.
Yeah, I mean, of the three, between this, the Evo 1 and the 2, this is slightly more the hooligan. It's more raucous inside, there's less sound dampening. It's not quite as smooth, but at the end of the day, it's got all the performance factors that you want.
So in terms of the Ben Collins garage, are you pretty set now? Got a 911 turbo?
Yeah.
You've got your Land Rover?
That's it.
You've got the Lancia?
All this.
Do you need to add to it? I know we were chatting about an ST1 in our previous video.
I mean, unfortunately, thanks to you, I am now starting to monitor auctions. It's a dangerous hobby.
Okay.
I'd love to find something that was a project, something you could really sink your teeth into and do it up. I think it's really cool. I like what you do. You've got passion for those Rovers and the MGs, and you're putting value back in them, and they deserve it. So I would like to find a hospital case and do something special.
I do think this amount of power, all-wheel drive, it is also a great combination for UK roads.
Yeah.
Like driving Richard's Subaru, we've now taken that to the moon power-wise, but before it was like 300, 350, and to be honest, even that was a bit too quick. Well, I think this, in terms of, getting it to the red line and showing it an apex, it's bob on in terms of that balance.
Yeah. What's funny with this, wherever you point the steering wheel, the car will go. Now, that's not to say that you won't lose control on the way there, but it will take you there. It's amazing, the amount of rotation, the swing, it's got that compliance that the chassis lets it tip over and you're going. So you realise you've got phenomenal power with it. I mean, that's what it's designed to do, but it's just quite different to a modern car. they'll often reach understeer first. This is like, no. And
what does it do? If it does anything, what's the first? Does it understeer, oversteer, four-wheel drift? What does it do?
It will slide the tail. Yeah, if you get it to that point. I'll be honest. I'm not driving like a hooligan on the road. I'm waiting. I will take this onto a track at some point just to feel what it's like.
Okay.
But you get, the car's talking to you all the time. We drove your Rover. It doesn't take that long, so you can sort of feel the front's about to give up. You know it. Then you hear a tyre screech and everything. With this one, it just turns, and you're like, okay. So add 5 or 10 miles to that. It's going to step out. You're going to have to change your underpants.
I've noticed two things. We'll get to one of them once we park up at the end, but your roof lining.
Yeah.
I mean, the roof lining of the Rover's not good either. 25, 30-year-old cars, it's pretty common for that to happen.
That's a bit sad, and I honestly don't know how you'd fix that, but probably somebody who's an interior specialist could
There'll be
fix it.
some old wee wifey that can sort you out, stretch it.
Yeah, there is that. But I mean, if that's the worst of it, then it's not too bad.
Absolutely. The rest of it looks mint.
Yeah. And I think partly that's because it's been sitting still too long. These cars need to be driven.
Yeah. So are you sort of, taking this out for days with the kids and
they love
family
it.
and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, these cars are like an adventure. As soon as you go out with them, the interior is mad. It looks like you've gone to a road of disco with all crazy colours. And it's a character, isn't it? So it just makes a road trip that much more fun.
Yeah. I think the smell of a vehicle as well, really gets you in the mood for it. This has just got such a good smell about it. Kind of say with my Rover, there's just that 90s. I don't know what it is, whether it's the material in the seats or the rubbers or the plastics. There's just something that gives off this great smell.
They leak a bit.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
seepage.
Yeah, there's a bit of a whiff of petrol, which I'm not a huge fan of. So, I mean, that's something that I think probably next service I'll look at it. We get it tightened up, but there is, you do get a bit of organic smell from these cars, which is
great.
Cool.
Love it.
I think we're a bit more remote, aren't we? The engine bay is cut off. You can't even do a dipstick on a modern car. It's ridiculous. You're so out of touch with how the engine is working. And with these, everything, you can see it. You can see where the battery is. You can see where oil goes, water goes. I love it. I much prefer it.
Very, very cool. Well done, Ben.
Well, thank you. You pushed me in. It's the right call.
Yeah. We have both bought cars. They're both from 80s, 90s. They're both 2-litre turbos. We've basically bought the same car, right?
Well, they've got some things in common, but there's a lot of contrast here, isn't there? Not just the colours. But no, it's great. I mean, they're from the turbo era, but the best part of both of them is they're both user-friendly turbos. Yeah. It's not like with some crazy lag. And you've picked something that's niche. Small numbers. There are a few more of these around, but a lot of them have been crashed, smashed, bashed, or irreparably modified and ruined. So it's a good clean example. And you're going to tidy yours up.
Well, that's it. Two absolute automotive legends, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah. One of them's got, rallying history and one of them doesn't.
And maybe this time next year, there could be a Rover in your garage.
It's a nice idea.
Some nostalgia.
If you can get something for the right value like you have, then I think it makes sense.
Well, like this, I'll start WhatsApping you some links and we'll see what can happen.
Anything could happen then.
Okay. Well, Ben, thank you for being on the channel.
Love it. Thank you.
I've been Mike. He's been Ben.
I've been Ben. And if you want to see more Ben thrashing cars around a track, come and visit me at Ben Collins Drives, where I've got some new films releasing very soon.
I was supposed to plug that. Sorry. But yes, go check out his channel. We'll put a link in the description below. There's been DFVs, 962s, six-wheeled F1 cars. What's next after that?
There's been a lot of F1, and now I've got 2 BMW unicorns coming out, and so that's going to be really exciting. Did a big head-to-head.
Is there a V10 under the bonnet of either of those?
There's not. Didn't need a V10.
Okay. Well, yeah, go check out that stuff. I have been Mike.
I've been Ben.
And we'll see you again next time.
Come on, son. That'll take you to bed with your weary head on your pillow. Come on, son. That'll sit by you while you go